आंटी पहले आप आपके बारे में थोड़ा कुछ बता दीजिए।
पूछो।
आपके बारे में
आप
नाम
हम अपने बारे में बताएं।
हाँ।
मेरा नाम मंजू है, मैं यहाँ क्लिनिक का काम करती हूँ। मेरे 2 बेटे हैं, हस्बैंड है नहीं, मैं यही जॉब करती हूँ।
Can you please describe a typical day in your life? How much of it involves household work and outside work?
What I have in my house, because I stay alone, so it's around 3:7. So 30% is my household work that I do, working with my helping hands to maintaining and cleaning and cooking and all. After that, I just come office and I start working.
आंटी आपका डेली रूटीन कैसा होता है? आपका घरेलू काम कितना होता है और यहाँ?
बेटा यहाँ से हम जाते हैं तो घर का काम देखते हैं, खाना पीना बर्तन चौका, फिर सवेरे काम करके आते हैं, खाना पीना बर्तन चौका, 10-11 बज जाता सोते सोते।
कभी खुद के लिए समय निकाल पाते हो?
नहीं निकल पाता बेटा समय, पूरा दिन भर बिजी रहते हैं।
The first thing I do once I get up in the morning, which is around 6:30 or so, is go to the kitchen, because first I have to make myself a cup of coffee and I also have to make breakfast. So that means that in the morning I don't have any time for work related things. Now it's much better because I have reached a certain age, I don't have young children to take care of. But there was a time when the first time that I could actually sit down was when I come to the department.
मैं देखो सुबह मैं 5 बजे उठती हूँ बेटा, ठीक। मैं सुबह 5 बजे उठती हूँ, सुबह मैं अपने घर का सारा काम हम करके खाना पीना बना के 8 बजे तक मैं फ्री होती हूँ। वहां से मैं आती हूँ, मैं यहाँ फिर आके अपना काम चालू करती हूँ। 8 बजे यहाँ मुझे आना है ड्यूटी पे, फिर यहाँ 5 बजे जाते हैं, फिर वही घर का काम, खाना बर्तन कपड़े सब करना होता है घर का।
It's common to hear people say women can do it all, but do you ever feel that phrase adds more pressure?
Yeah, I think any human being can do it all if it is needed. If a male is a single parent, he has to do it all, right? It's not something related to gender, but yes, whenever you have to do it all by yourself, it is kind of a pressure rather than doing it with a partner in your life. So it's true for both men and women.
See, women can do it all. That is something that everybody says that is true, but I don't think it is really a compliment. I think it is just a way of getting women to do all the work. You portray her as a devi and with those various hands, and she's juggling all sorts of work, she's multitasking. So one word I hate is multitasking. Ultimately, that is because the home is seen as the woman's domain. The question that you usually get is, are you working? Right? So the implication is that, are you working in an office outside the home? What about the work inside the home, which goes unquantified and unappreciated?
When you think about the appreciation for what you manage daily, do you feel recognized for it, or does it go unnoticed?
That's a very difficult question to answer. Some days I do feel that I am doing a lot and there's no appreciation, and I feel a little down for that. But I would say that I don't get affected by that, but it's the kids whom I'm looking for, my parents I'm looking for. So the smile on my parents' face by just looking at me and being present around them, and also the satisfying feeling that I get that, I have made my kids study and they're doing it at the right pace and hopefully they'll be able to do well, is something that is enough for me to get the recognition. So I don't look for recognition, I would say.
Rather than depending on others for appreciation, I would say what women have to do is start appreciating themselves. So not just women who have made it big career-wise. Any woman who is balancing home and work deserves a lot of appreciation, I would say, and most of all from themselves. They shouldn't belittle themselves. And also women who are just doing work at home shouldn't say that I am doing nothing. They are doing a whole lot of work. Because without them, there would be no family. It is because they put in that much of work at home that husband can become successful, children can become successful. It's unfortunate that success for the rest of the family depends upon failure or lack of success of one part of the family. That women, rather than feeling themselves victimized, which is a very bad feeling to get, you know, this feeling of being used by others and not being given enough credit for what they are doing, rather than fall into that trap, you do things which you feel that you have to do. Don't do things because somebody else expects you to do it. Don't fall into this trap of expecting others to appreciate you. Before that, it's not a defensive mechanism that I'm talking about here, but a positive step.
The main issue here is that, the basic structure of a man and a woman was like, men are supposed to provide and women are supposed to nurture. What makes it difficult is that society consider nurturing as a weaker thing to do than providing. Okay, so that's how the power dynamics came into the society.
Stereotypes are there that, you know, even if you go for work, you have to go for a more balanced work. So if a woman goes all out for work and don't take care of the household work or the child rearing to some extent, they're always criticized. So I think it's still there very much, even in a very educated society. If it's a choice of the husband or the man to go strong in the professional front and overlook the family, and if there is a family where the women wants to go strong, then it should get support from the family members, particularly husband, and also from the society. So that should be there.
Women are so conditioned that even when they are very well educated, they're always somehow being given to understand that they are primarily responsible for the stability of the house. So they are homemakers primarily and career women secondarily. So men are confident because it is their world, it's a man's world. That's not right. So all the yardsticks, for example, in career progression, women are not, see, the yardsticks that are applied, say for example in academia, promotion depends upon the number of publications per year. Now how can you publish? You are working full time and you have teaching to do, and you also have, sorry, hello.
आंटी आपके घर में कमाने वाले लोग कितने हैं?
मेरा एक बेटा है नहीं, खत्म हो चुका है। एक है तो उसको हमने लगा दिया है हालपुर में। अब मेरे आदमी मतलब बंगला मिल जाता है तो कर लेते हैं और हम कर रहे हैं यहाँ।
मेरा कमाने वाला मेरा एक बेटा है, बड़ा वाला,
और आप?
अब मैं हूँ। छोटा वाला बेटा पढ़ रहा था अभी, तो उन्होंने इंटर किया है तो उन्होंने छोड़ दी पढ़ाई। कह रहा है कि पढ़ लो बेटा, हम लोग तो चलो अनपढ़ है, तो क्या किया जाए। तो आजकल बच्चों को देख के हम लोग भी सोचते हैं कि चलो सब बच्चे पढ़े, अच्छी बात है, कम से हम लोगों का भी नाम रोशन हो।
आंटी आपकी सास ससुर है?
हाँ, मेरी सास है और मेरे 3 देवर हैं और एक छोटा देवर है, उसकी भी शादी नहीं हुई है।
Do you find time for yourself amidst everything?
Again, it's a very personal question. I have seen people maintain a good work-life balance here, being it a male faculty or female faculty. But for me, I love this job very, very much. So for me, it's not like work-life balance, rather it's a work-life integration. Okay, so even if I am sitting idle watching some movie or just having a tea, I keep thinking about a particular problem that my PhD student is going through right now, technically, right? So for me, yes, I have found, though being a faculty or being a supervisor is a continuous job, it does not have any break. So if you enjoy it, it's really good.
I don't really find the time to do that. So it's really becoming hard because my kids are growing up and my parents are growing old. So I guess I'll have some other time when I can do that, but that's not the right time. So I don't get very frustrated. But it's music that I always try to listen to, because that's, even if you do some work, you can listen to music.
और आप कितनी उम्र से काम कर रहे हो?
यही कोई 13-14 साल से। जब हम 14 साल के थे तब से हमने काम स्टार्ट कर दिया। मम्मी लोगों ने सिखा दिया था काम। खाना बनाओ, पढ़ने भी जाते थे और शायद साथ साथ में कहीं की खाना भी बनाओ, शादी कर देंगे। और जो 17 के हुए थे शादी कर दी हम लोगों की। हम हाँ, हम लोग भी जल्दी, हम लोग में जल्दी शादी हो जाती है ना। अब जैसे मैं ससुराल आई तो ससुराल में आने के बाद मेरी जॉब लग गई। साथ साथ में घर भी देखा, साथ साथ में अपने बच्चे भी देखे और साथ साथ में अपनी जॉब भी करते रहे।
हम कर रहे हैं। वैसे तो देखा जाए बिटिया, 15-16 साल के थे तब से चौका बर्तन करते थे, मैके में गोताखोरी करते थे। तब वहां से मतलब पैसा हेर के लाते थे, तब खाना बनता था, चूल्हा जलता था मेरे यहाँ। शादी के बाद यहाँ ज्वाइन हो गई। फिर पहले गोबर कंडा पाथा उससे गृहस्थी चली, फिर उसके बाद यहाँ काम लग गया, यहाँ करने लगे। जब से समझ लो हम काम ही कर रहे, जिंदगी बीती जा रही काम करते करते।
How do you find support when things get overwhelming? Are there people or system at home or work that make a difference?
So what I do, I always take a break. I take a pause because professional goals can be achieved in due course of time, but mental health is a priority.
I think that career women can survive only with a good support system at home. So that support system can either be parents or parents-in-law or husband. Without that, you will not be able to survive.
Many a times I do feel overwhelmed. So my support system is often I look forward to my husband. And sometimes I get the support very much. For instance, when my parents get sick and they are very old, so hospital visits are also not uncommon. Sometimes when they were not here, I used to go to my hometown. So the go-to person is my husband, often to take care of the kids. So in that sense, he really does a great job. But he's also very busy. So sometimes even when I feel very emotionally drained, sometimes I always not get that mental support.
Does it affect health? I really am not qualified to say that. But there is a whole lot of work, as I told you earlier, that you find it very difficult to get time to rest. So that I'm sure does affect you physically, because women have all sorts of other problems which nobody takes into consideration, which is, after a certain age, you enter the menopausal stage, at which point your bones do not have enough calcium, osteoporosis sets in. So the amount of work you do as a young woman very often is going to have a lasting impact, which you do not feel at the time. You realize all of this only you have reached a certain age. So mental health, I'm sure it does, because again, somebody who's working non-stop without enough rest or appreciation is bound to be, at some point of time, affected by all of this.
Sometimes I do talk to my friends, but I sometimes feel that being so busy in my life is also has taken a toll in terms of friends, because I don't have much time for spending with friends. So often I would say that sometimes I feel really alone, and I feel that wish I had a friend to talk to. But it looks odd that I have not talked to somebody for a while, and so there are very few friends that I have whom I can reach out whenever possible. I just feel bad to talk to my friends in days of need.
If I need any help from the family or friends or my seniors here in the department, I always reach out. This is my suggestion to other people. Don't think that I cannot express myself, I cannot reach out for my problems. If you do not reach out, people will not be able to understand. They cannot read your mind, right? So if you reach out, then only people can come and give you help. So whenever you are feeling overwhelmed about your professional and personal life, if there is somebody you can trust, please reach out to them.
Are there moments at work when you feel pressured to prove yourself more because of the responsibilities you manage outside?
There are many a times that, like in an academic life, you have deadlines. And for instance, a project, if you have a project, you have deliverables by a particular time frame, and that time frame may not be very suitable because you might have like children's exams there, or my parents might fall ill. So I have struggled at times, but I should thank my family, particularly my husband, and also my colleagues. I have wonderful colleagues here with whom I work, and so all the deadlines that are there, and if I fail, sometimes it has happened once in a while that my colleagues have done more work than me in meeting the deadline, and I've made up for that sometime else.
Have there been times when you felt judged or unsupported for the way you balance work and home life? How did you cope?
So it's not just me, but there are other people, other women colleagues in this institute who have had to face, as I said, these sort of comments about, one, that I don't sit too late in the department. There are other colleagues who are here till 9 or 10 at night, which I obviously can't do. So I have had to listen to all of this. How did I cope? Well, I coped by telling myself that I am doing meaningful work and that my contribution is not something that is less than any of them.
I would like to point out that as a professional career woman in academics here, like we often have to go for conferences. If it's an conference outside the country, you have to go for around 10 or 11 days or around a week at least. And I have been there a few times, though very less because of my home responsibilities. So during that time, I have felt that even in an educated society like community of IIT campus, I have felt judged because when I came back from those conferences, my husband used to take care of my kids and used to maybe roam around with the kids. And I have heard people saying that, okay, you went for this work and your husband is really has managed the kids so well, and they were all alone without the mother. And I often felt unsupported there, because oftentimes my husband would go on conferences even much more than me going there, and nobody would have appreciated me for taking care of the kids because I am a woman.
Child's upbringing, anything goes wrong at any stage of life, mother will blame herself. They think that if anything goes wrong at home, they are to be blamed. Even if nobody is blaming them, they will be the first to blame themselves. A whole lot of moral dilemma goes on in the minds. So that is because social conditioning is such. I did something wrong. Maybe I am not a good mother.
But when these fine lines are drawn between professional and personal life, then obviously there is a pressure in the personal life to build up a home. So if you are alone or if you are single, this is just a house. Only when a family will come and stay with you, then only it becomes a home. This notion is wrong. Even if you are a single or a married, you maintaining a house, you are putting your sweats and efforts to build up a house to a home should be well regarded.
Women in general have to work more to prove themselves, because otherwise there is this very dismissive attitude to women, saying that anyway they are never around, they make excuses because they say that child is sick, they have to go, or that you will be late for work again because there is some problem at home. So there is that attitude. So today men are much more polished. They will not say it to your face, but they will definitely talk about it behind your back and say that this is the problem with recruiting women. They take advantage of this. See, today there is this thing called child care leave. So you can take up to 2 years child care leave, split it 1 year here and 1 year there. So most of the women do take it. I have heard multiple people, men, make this snide comment that so this is very nice for women. They can take this 1 year paid leave sort of thing very happily, saying that the child needs them. Of course, it's not a pleasant thing to listen to. So you would put in a lot of work to overcome that sort of prejudice.
आप कभी खुद के लिए समय निकाल पाते हो?
अब बेटा मुश्किल ही है, समय क्या है, जो कुछ है बस यही ड्यूटी पे ही हमारा समय निकल पाता है, बाकी तो सारा टाइम काम काम, अपने लिए खुद के लिए नहीं निकाल पाते कोई टाइम। एक दिन छुट्टी होती है तो उस दिन भी सारा घर का ही सुबह से लेकर शाम तक काम ही करते रहते हैं।
आपको कभी ऐसा लगता है कि काम बहुत ज्यादा हो रहा है, घर का हो या यहाँ का?
अब वो तो बेटा लगता तो है, लेकिन क्या कह सकते हैं, साथ में घर भी चलाना होता, तो इसलिए सारी जिम्मेदारी हमारे ऊपर है, हम सबसे बड़े हैं।
कि आपकी सैलरी आप ही देखते हो या कोई और देखते
जब से मेरा बेटा लग गया तो थोड़ा हाथ बटाने लगा है, नहीं तो पूरी सैलरी हम ही को सबको देना पड़ता था, जिससे मतलब राशन पानी उधार लेते थे तो उसको सबको देना पड़ता है।
हो? उधार लेना पड़ता है?
हाँ,
एक
इस
बार
महीने में तनख्वाह दे दो, पैसे दे दो, दूसरे महीने का ले लो।
आंटी, आपको कॉलेज की तरफ से सपोर्ट मिलता है?
नहीं बेटा,
जैसे बच्चों को पढ़ाने के लिए कुछ
नहीं
अलग
कुछ
से?
नहीं, हम लोग सिर्फ प्राइवेट ही पढ़ा रहे थे बच्चों को।
पढ़ाने के लिए कुछ स्कॉलरशिप ऐसा कुछ मिलता
नहीं
है
नहीं
आपको?
नहीं
कुछ नहीं, घर के लिए कुछ?
नहीं नहीं कुछ।
There is a huge disparity in the gender ratio, especially in STEM. What, in your opinion, is the reason for that?
Oh, I have so many examples. This question I love the most. See, what I have seen is like this pyramid. You know, I studied in a state government college, a state government school. So we have a boys' school and adjacent girls' school, and the number of students in both boys and girls' school were like 50-50. So 50 girls students, 50 boys students. The moment we go up, suddenly this huge disparity between women going in higher studies and men going in higher studies gets reduced. No, at least 20 girl student got married after class 12, and they just did nothing after that. So yes, there is a disparity because of the expectation.
This is a very male-dominated institute.
Yeah.
So how do you make a mark in it? Again, for me, it is not a problem. Humanities and social sciences, there are a lot of women here, and we also generally tend to, in that sense, we talk to each other. There is a community sort of thing.
Sometimes we get comments like, oh, you are in IIT Kanpur faculty member, so you know Kanpur, so there is no industry in Kanpur, there is no other good universities in Kanpur, why don't you just shift or get a transfer to IIT Delhi or IIT Bombay or somewhere in a metro city where you will get something someplace. I have not done my PhD to get somewhere something. I have my visions. I know where I would be well suited in which IIT, and I do not want to compromise on that. But there are many females who actually have done compromise on their career just to satisfy their families or start a new family.
We are invisible in the institute. So all these official positions, for example, we are never considered for it. How many women deans have you had? So those sort of things. So for the longest time you did not have a woman warden in charge for even the girls' hostels. They had only men.
Yeah,
So each small step is a major battle.
There are a lot of people, I mean, male, female has good, same CV, same experience in postdoc. The lady is not getting job after coming back to India, and the guy is doing wherever he wants to pursue a career.
Even getting married will be a problem because she is permanently in Kanpur. What will the husband do? So your choices are limited. Either you go in for a long distance relationship or simply don't get married.
Have you ever faced judgment for being an unmarried female working professional?
Yes, not from a colleague, but from surroundings. The definition of institution of marriage is different for different people. For some people, it's like starting a family, carrying a baby, be a good family man or woman. For somebody, it's having this cerebral vibe matching with the other person, nothing more than that. And until unless that happens, if somebody comment ki come to Delhi, you will get good match because it's a metro city and you will get something at some place, then this statement itself is it's a small talk simply. So at least for me, it's my personal experience. And rather than that, if somebody says that okay, you stay at your place, you do whatever you were doing, we can find out something mutually, with respect, with due respect of time, I think that that person has a bigger mindset, broader mindset. Comments would always be there. Even a housewife will get comments. People just see your position, find out what is not present in your life, what you are missing, and comment on that. So we, as a women or as a men, I would say even men gets a lot of comments about how much they are getting paid and what are the social responsibilities and family responsibilities they are taking. We just have to ignore them and focus on our ambitions.
आंटी, आप आपके बच्चों के लिए या पोते पोतियों के लिए आप कैसा फ्यूचर चाहते हो उनका?
बिटिया हम तो सोचते हैं कि जैसे मतलब हम ये भुगत रहे हैं इस तरीके से मेरे बच्चे ना भुगते। मेरी बेटी बहुत परेशान है इस टाइम। अरे यही है कि मतलब काम धंधा उसको भी मिल जाए कहीं तो करने लगे।
अभी घर पे रहती है?
घर पे आई है। ऐसा मारा है कुछ कहने को नहीं कि टांका लगे उसके।
हम तो यही सोचते हैं बेटा कि हमारे बच्चे पढ़ लिख जाएं, कुछ अच्छी जॉब बढ़िया मिल जाए उनको भी। अब जैसे हम कर रहे हैं, वो हम चाहते हैं कि हम वो ये ना करके कोई अच्छी जॉब करे। वो हर माँ बाप चाहता है कि मेरे बच्चे अच्छी कामयाबी करे।
अगर आप पे ये सारी जिम्मेदारियां नहीं होती,
हाँ बेटा,
तो आप क्या चाहते हैं? आप क्या करना चाहते हैं?
हम यही सोचते हैं कि बच्चों के अपने अच्छे से शादी वादी कर दें, उनका घर द्वार बना दें, हमें भी थोड़ा रिलैक्स मिल जाए घर के लिए। कुछ हमें भी टाइम मिलना चाहिए अपने लिए, कुछ अच्छे से हम भी अपना सोच सके।
आप सोचते हो कि आप क्या करोगे अगर आपको सिर्फ अकेले हो, आपको ना घर का देखना है ना यहाँ आना है, तो आप क्या करोगे?
क्या है, बस यही है, अपना घूमेंगे फिरेंगे, थोड़ा हम भी घूमने फिरने का करता है कि कहीं जाए अच्छी जगह घूम के हम भी आए।
आपको लॉटरी लगी, आपके पास टाइम है, आपके पास पैसा भी है, तो आप क्या करोगे?
सबसे पहले तो घर ही बनवाएंगे, मीटर लगवाएंगे, यही करेंगे।
और खुद के लिए
मंदिर अंदिर घूम आएंगे जा करके।
From your personal experience, any insight you have gained which you would like to share with us?
As I said, I think the first thing that women need to do is be confident of themselves and not fall into this trap of, rising up to the superwoman image. There is no superwoman. There are only humans, and all of us make mistakes. So do women. So it's not such a terrible thing to make a mistake. Right? So in this feeling of guilt, of responsibility, and this feeling that things will not happen if I am not there, these things have to be kept aside because you cannot really take care of everything. Things will happen even if you are not there. So I think women have to first conquer themselves. So the appreciation will come from you, from within you, and then you will be a happier person.
Never give up your professional commitments for family. I mean, you have to balance this family commitments along with your professional commitments, and it's always good to go for professional commitments even at the cost of not taking care of your family responsibilities for a while.
So because the most of this population that will see this video, I would say that if you are a young female or young female student, go for actually higher studies and higher ambitions. Trouble will be there. I mean, whatever path you choose, focus on the good thing that you can achieve if you pursue your wishes.
You should do the balancing as much as possible by doing right things at the right time. So don't give up on your professional commitments because you have little kids, because little kids will eventually grow up, and then when you have time you might not have these professional commitments anymore because you have left so many earlier. So don't do that. Try to strike a balance. Important is your family, so that you can convince the family that you need to do this and you should get that support. You have to try to convince the family members that this support is what you should get.
The moment I am a working woman, I am talking about my rights and all. But then when it comes to bring wife of my son, I will be a typical mother-in-law. That won't work. That won't work. So she needs the same support that I needed maybe 20 years back.
So I do think that this should be inculcated in the kids. They value the mother's work as equally as father's work, and as later on when they go later in their life, I hope they would bring up their children in the similar way, and which values women's education.
और आंटी अब बाकी जो कुछ बोलना चाहोगे कि जो लोग घर का और बाहर का संभालने में जिनको मुश्किल होती है?
मुश्किल तो होती है बेटा, जो जॉब करता है तो उसको पूरी जिम्मेदारी उसके ऊपर रहती है घर की।
कुछ एडवाइस देना चाहोगे आप?
क्या दे, सब परिस्थिति सब इंसान जानता ही अच्छे से है कि यही एडवाइस है कि क्या बोलते हैं, घर भी देखना पड़ता है, बाहर भी देखना पड़ता है, बच्चों को भी देखना पड़ता है, अपने लिए कोई समय नहीं मिल पाता किसी के लिए।
हम तो बेटा यही सलाह कहेंगे कि बच्चों को थोड़ा काम करना चाहिए, घर गृहस्थी का भी उनको पता होना चाहिए कि कैसे घर संभाला जाता है, कैसे नहीं किया जाता।
आंटी और कुछ बोलना है आपको इस बारे में?
बस यही है, जिंदगी चल रही है। ये तो एक जिंदगी है बेटा, संघर्ष करना होता है।
What is destined for you will eventually come to you, but whatever is in your hand and you know you are capable of doing, please pursue that. That's it.
I am sorry, can you call me tomorrow morning? I am in the midst of a meeting. Right? Yeah. Tomorrow 10. Yeah.